Good morning, Inspiring Illuminators. It is me, Jennifer Engel, your highest possibility subconscious shed organization coach. It's a beautiful day here in Illinois, but it is windy, so I apologize. I do try to cut down the wind noise as much as possible. That's one of the negatives of doing a jaunt and recording it outside. One of the positives is hearing the birds in the background singing. Sometimes I'll actually turn around and walk backwards. So I'm sure my neighbors think I'm weird, but whatever. I don't really care. So this week I've been doing almost like a little 3-day mini-series. On Monday I talked about the purpose of past experiences and nightmares and bad experiences and how we can get through them. Yesterday, I talked about the purpose of daydreams and goals. And so today, and I did touch on, I think in the first one or so, what now moments are. But today I want to talk about the present. So basically, before I begin, the reason why I feel like I was supposed to share this message, if you will, is it was the summer solstice on Father's Day on Sunday. And I could kind of feel an energy system coming in on Friday before the actual summer solstice. Basically, what it is it's a checkpoint. So energy systems will come in and bring up stuff that you are working on, bring up stuff that is holding you back from moving forward. And summer solstice, it depends. I don't know which is which, to be honest. If this is the exam or the midterm. And then the next one will be winter solstice. In general, I kind of experience the summer one is more of like a midterm, and then winter is the final exam. And then if you think about it, winter solstice generally occurs around Christmas. And then what happens right after Christmas? New Year's. And then what do? We set new goals, new destinations. We take a new class, if you will. So I think this is the midterm. And so that's just kind of why I'm supposed to talk about this right now. Just to kind of think about where you've been. Think about where you want to go. Maybe a goal that you set for yourself 6 months ago. Maybe just reflecting on what's going on in your life right now that might be holding you back. And then that way you can kind of use this talk as like a checkpoint to see how you're doing, and if you want to, you can kind of make a plan to keep moving forward. So what I've been doing is I've been using the metaphor, kind of like we are people, and this metaphor gets used all the time. And that's another thing. If a metaphor, an image, a concept gets used by many, many people over time. If a message starts coming out, I've experienced this with people who've never talked to each other. They might even be part of different religious groups or maybe not even part of a religion. And the same type of message comes out, then that's from Source. Source is trying to get the message out through various channels. So Source will often use a lot of the metaphors that I'm going to talk about, and the one that I've been using is we are like a ship on the ocean. That can also be found in many popular songs. Don't rock the boat, baby. That's one of them. Our love is like a ship on the ocean. And then there was Come Sail Away With Me. I think that's by Styx. Anyway, it comes up. So what I've been saying is I've been using the metaphor that life is like a ship on the ocean, okay? And the past equals the wind in our sails, and the future is the lighthouse on the horizon. And the purpose of now moments is to show you where you currently are. And if you use that term, current, and you think about the multiple meanings that the word current can have, and you apply it to the ocean, what kind of current or flow are you in the present moment? Okay, and then again, you use those 3 questions to help guide you. But not only do you use your 3 questions, but as you are sailing on the ocean, and again, I've talked about how the ocean, water, represents memories and feelings. And I've also talked about how some people are caught up in the current chaos. They're kind of like holding on to and only remembering the bad stuff and letting their memories and their emotions drown them. Okay? So the present, the now moment, is kind of asking you what current, what flow are you in? And you can look around yourself physically, because again, I do believe that more often than not, our outside reflects our inside, but it is the last thing to reflect our inside from my understanding of how reality creation works. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go inside and you want to say, in general, how am I currently feeling? What flow am I in? Is it a positive flow? A negative flow? Is it a neutral flow? Has the flow stopped and now you're in the doldrums and your boat's just sitting there and you feel like you're going nowhere? Maybe a couple of those things at the same time, because if you're stopped, then maybe you get frustrated, right? So you go inside and you ask yourself, what current, what flow am I currently feeling? Positive, negative, neutral, moving up, moving down, moving back, moving forward, sitting still, feeling happy about it, feeling sad about it. Where are you currently? Okay? And then that kind of raises from your feelings to your mind, where you make a judgment, probably where you label the feeling. And then it comes out in your physical reality. So then, take a look at your physical reality. Is it chaotic? Is it clean? Is everything kind of taken care of around you? So these are some things you want to think about as well. Sometimes I have experienced where I was like confused. I've gotten to like someone's house and it was perfectly neat and organized. But then you get into their life, their inner world, which was chaotic. So sometimes I think people use, it doesn't always reflect what's going on. I think some people use controlling their outside because they can't control their inside. So sometimes outside and inside doesn't match. But in general, I find that that is a good rule. Okay. So the first thing that you ask about your present moment is, where am I? Where currently am I? What current, what flow am I in? Now for me, I see time more like a tree. It's a concept that I've been thinking about and understanding for quite a while. I call it the unfolding. So rather than we are moving through space and time is actually moving through us, like we're a tree. Kind of like similar to walking on a treadmill or maybe being on a merry-go-round, because there's patterns, right? So I kind of see things as like ripples and rings. I see the current now moment being the drop in the water, and then I see the rings that spread out from the current drop as past experiences, past moments. Similar to if you cut a tree open, the core is how it is doing currently, and the rings are what happened in the past, the story of the past. There was a drought, there was plenty of water, so on and so forth. It grew a lot, it hardly grew at all. Apply that to ourselves, right? Okay. And I believe that whatever we do in our now moment, like a drop in the pond, not only does it send ripples out, but each drop penetrates the past ripples. So this is where I believe we can heal our subconscious and our past memories by practicing what we're doing in our now moments. So generally, there are two ways that I get my quotes. Number one, I reflect upon the past 24 hours. The other way, actually probably three ways I get my quotes. The other way is I feel like these energy systems coming in, and I get what channels call downloads. And it's kind of like you just write what you hear coming in. So that's a little bit what this was about. But it was also sparked by a reading that I've been listening to called The Journey Home by Lee Carroll. And I have, I think, shared that on my Facebook before, and if I can remember, which most of the time I forget, I'll try to put the video link down below. But if you just put in YouTube search engine, The Journey Home by Lee Carroll, you should find it. I think the best narration is giving wisdom to the voices of the ages, something like that. He's got a great voice. His name is Barry. He narrates it just perfectly. Anyway, the general concept of the story is that there is the main character, Michael, and he decides he wants to journey home, back to God. And he has an accident. And then the angels take him to a subconscious place and space that doesn't exist in the physical world. And then he has to visit, I think it is 7 homes of 7 different angels. And then in those different homes, he learns different spiritual concepts. And what kind of sparked my talk today is when Michael has to go into the house of biology. And basically the idea is when we shift and change and expand our consciousness, then our emotions, our thinking, and then last, our body also does change. So again, to me, an energy system came in, and what we often experience is flu-like symptoms. The main one being tired. Lots and lots of tired over the past week or so. So that's the main one. Tired. You will feel tired for no good reason when these energy systems come in. But my quote today is, it's just supposed to happen. But so many times people fight the happening. Inspired by The Journey Home by Lee Carroll. All right, so this book, sorry, I'm walking by a house with little yippy dogs. This book is more like New Age thinking when it comes to spirituality. It kind of thinks about the beyond, but it really resonates with me because it matches how I experience reality, specifically where the quote came from in this book. All right, so the quote is, it's just supposed to happen, but so many times people fight the happening. So again, I'm going to go back and I'm going to use the tree as an example. All right. I want you to think about there are patterns in life. There are cycles. And each cycle is supposed to teach us something, give us something. And then when the cycle is done, we're supposed to start a new one. It's kind of what I talked about yesterday in my Jaunt with Jen. How when we finally arrive at our daydream, our desired destination, we as humans aren't really happy unless we're on the journey, and so we set a new destination. That's the pattern. Now, in the fall, when the journey is over for the trees, they show these beautiful colors for everyone to see and enjoy just before they drop all their leaves as like a final bow to the journey that they learned during the summer. Before they go back to sleep into their own subconscious to figure out what the next season is going to be like. But we as humans, if we were trees, what we generally do when there is a pattern that is ending is we kind of almost say, oh hell no, I'm hanging on to my leaves. I ain't gonna show no colors for anybody. Right? The pattern, the biology, it's just supposed to happen, but we fight it. All right? Like, another way to think about this, maybe two other ways, is young kids, 2 years old and younger. You know, when they're hungry, they eat. They grab the next thing next to them. You know, they don't say, well, I wonder how many calories this is and if it's going to make me fat or give me my most nutritional denseness. They don't even have the concept for that. It's biology, they eat. They don't think about it as much as we do. Okay? They gotta poop, they poop. Reminds me of a quote in All Quiet on the Western Front by Eric Remarque, World War I novel. He's like, you know, at home this is like disgusting pooping, but out here it's beautiful. I don't know why, but that quote has always stuck with me. All right. Also think about a flower. Like a flower is just supposed to open when it opens. But if we were human, we'd be like, come on, it's time to open now, get up. And we would try to force it open. But what happens when you try to force a flower open when it's not ready to yet? You destroy it, and we do that to people, right? We try to force them open rather than just letting the biology happen and just trusting. So, biology, life, is supposed to be more simple than ordered, but as humans, we make it so complex and chaotic. Now, in some aspects, we're supposed to be more civilized, but when the time comes, people fight it, okay? Which is fine. So like when a cycle ends, some people are ready to move on, some people stay where they are, and some people just hold on. They fight it so much, they cling to the past and all the trinkets that go with it. They hang on to their leaves as fall and winter is approaching. And that is fine, because some people would argue that the past was a more simple time. And you could argue it either way. Okay? And you know what? There's the juxtaposition. There's always the juxtaposition I'm finding. The past was more simple, but it was also more complex or difficult if you were really being honest about it. Right now, we have life way more easier than what we did in the past, but it is also more complex. So the juxtaposition occurs no matter where we are in place, space, and time. Either way, some people hold on to the leaves of the past. They're not ready to move on once the cycle is done. Some people just stay where they are, and they're like, well, I'm not going to go back in the past, but I'm not ready to move into the future. I think about like a lot of older people, like when technology comes in, right? They get like nervous and afraid and whatever. Or just comfortable using the technology they're using, and they don't want to bother or have the time to use the new one. And then some people are ready to let go of their leaves and move forward. And that's okay, because we're given free will, right? We're given choice. Again, I'm going to challenge people to use the 3 questions. When cycles are done, and again, I've been seeing this a lot with relationships. Humans make them so complex. You know, part of it was out of necessity in the past. But like with relationships specifically, I have heard, I can't even tell you how many people, their relationships are literally leaving them sick and unfulfilled and whatever. And part of it could be them themselves, right? And so this is where you have to think about relationships also have cycles. So you can't necessarily just jump ship, let go of the leaves if things get a little bit rocky. Okay, again, you kind of use like, does it need a tune-up, a timeout, an overhaul, or a trade-in, okay, or a big adjustment. So you want to do that first, and you really want to give it time, because relationships have longer cycles. But in general, you know, sometimes when it gets to that point where a relationship has really served its purpose and it's so toxic that it's making people physically ill, they hang on. And so that's something I've been seeing a lot, like in the 30s, 40s people, maybe beyond. Okay? So, in general, it could also be a job. It could be anything, fill in the blank. So the present moment, no matter what it is what current or flow are you currently in? What memory, what feeling is, and then use your 3 questions. In my now moments for the day, in certain parts of my day, family, work, community, whatever, personal, how am I feeling? Am I feeling good, bad, neutral? Am I moving forward, backward, or am I staying the same? Am I becoming functional or less functional over time? And so basically your now moments is you on the ship of your memory, your emotion, your current state, your current flow. and you're checking the weather. You're looking ahead, you're trying to see, is it clear skies or is there a storm coming? Okay? All right. So, whether you are living in the now, living in the future or the past, use your outside physical world, your thoughts and your feelings to help guide you. Use the questions. How am I feeling in each moment? Now moment. Is the current and flow that I'm currently in bringing me toward my desired destination? Or is it drowning me in my past memories and emotions? Is it causing the ship to go under? Am I in a storm? Right? And if I'm in a good flow, then I know to keep doing what I'm doing. If I'm in the doldrums, maybe I just wait it out until the winds pick up again. And if I'm moving backwards, I need to make a plan to turn the ship around. And again, like I said yesterday, it's not going to be a full leap. Sometimes it will be. Sometimes we're being pulled back in order to be shot forward like a bow and arrow. But I'll probably say more often than not, it's just starting to take those slow, small steps to turn the ship around and start the journey in a different direction. I hope that this little mini series this week has helped open up somebody's mind today. I hope you can do a midterm exam, a midpoint check on yourself to see where you are in your current now moment, to see if you are headed toward your desired destination. And if you're not, to maybe think about trusting your biology, trusting your instincts. If you feel a storm is coming, people make a plan, right? There was tornadoes not too far from where I live. People went down into the basement. They trusted their instincts. But so many times we don't do that in our relationships or our situations. So trust it. Trust your gut. Trust your flow. So that you can end up in your desired destination and help others do the same. Because now more than ever, the world needs a little bit more simplicity. It needs a little bit more order. And it needs you. Peace and blessings.